Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. Yes. If you're seeing me for the first time, my name is Joyce Anyanwu. I brought to you guys another politics news. What has been going on in Nigeria, where Segun of Channels TV will be interviewing Oshiomhole. All of us know who is Oshiomhole, our former governor of Edo State, and now is a sitting senator. Yes. And secondly, we will be seeing how a German chancellor visited Nigeria, on matters of how to reform the country, how to partner, how Nigeria would partner with Germany. Everything you guys will be watching and you'll be listening on this channel. And Segun will be talking with Oshiomhole on the matters of tax reform, tax bills reform also. So, my people, please, before we dive straight to this video, if you're seeing me for the first time, please, my name is Joyce Anyanwu. Subscribe to this channel. Share your thought on all the topic, on opinion in the comment section. Yes, please. Thank you for those that have been watching, and they have been my returnees. Thank you very, very much. So, my people, before I will start ranting too much or talking too much, let's just go straight to the video and watch and listen what has been going on in Nigeria. Thank you.
As a former governor, as a former Labour leader, as a sitting senator, on the issues of the tax reform bills, his colleagues in the Southern Caucus of the Senate, they came together and they said they endorsed some of the elements of what is being captured in the tax reform bills. With all of this experience, we'll be getting some insight on what exactly is Nigeria in for, as far as those reforms are concerned. But before we get talking, everyone, we'll report to you that the German president, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, has arrived in Nigeria. He's been received by President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa. He was received at the presidential wing at first at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport by the Minister of the AFCT, Jens Wike. The president, the German president, has since met with President Bola Tinubu for a scheduled visit that is expected to span through from now until December the 12th, and is expected to engage in a series of activities such as a meeting with President Bola Tinubu, as well as the president of the Commission of Economic Community of West African States, and also have some engagement in Lagos. But when and President Bola Tinubu met, there were conversations as to what Germany can do for Nigeria and what exchange in terms of ideas and benefits both countries can share. Take a listen to what President Bola Tinubu said to the German president.
We need to strengthen the partnership for utilization of LNG as a source of supply and promotion of additional incremental value in business opportunity for Nigeria and Germany. We've discussed that and we're working on that. In the area of power, electricity, they are on the ground. The Siemens Energy is working very hard. It's promoting the partnership unhindered. Nigeria being a nation in a hurry, we want a magical response. But don't forget, various transmission lines is over 50, 60 years old. The snags are what we are trying to improve and reduce the possibility of problems. We have tax reforms that is private sector friendly. We have import duty waivers for machinery. We have so many other incentives that will help establish private businesses.
All right, then you have the President Bola Tinubu there. Well, the German Chancellor also spoke. He spoke in German, although it was translated for those of us who understand German. But for those of you who do not, here is what the German President said in English language.
In the past years, we talked about solar and wind, but the president also said it's obvious when it comes to solar energy, the conditions here in Nigeria, thanks to the sun in Nigeria, there's a lot of sun in Nigeria, and Germany has the necessary technology. So this makes us perfect partners, and also when it comes to wind energy. But third, let's also talk about the next generation.
All right, that has been it about the president's, the German president's visit to Nigeria and the hosting of President Bola Tinubu. Tonight, I'll be speaking with a former governor of Edo State, a former NLC president, and a sitting senator representing Edo North in the Senate, Senator Adams Oshiomhole. It's a pleasure having you, Excellency, for joining us tonight on the program.
Thank you for having me.
I hope you could see the sky clearly today.
Oh, yes, as always. It's particularly brilliant because we have August visitor.
Oh, yeah, because the president was making reference to you yesterday and he said, well, I mean, I take an exception to what the president said. On behalf of those of you who are not very talented vertically, and maybe we shall be petitioning the president for discrimination for those who are not very talented in terms of how they stand.
Well, that should be for me. My height is a perfect model height. Anything more than that is surplus.
So you can see the sky clearly.
I save on clothing. I save on food, small tank. The brain is large enough to take all the ideas I want. So what else do I need? So I thank Mr. President for reminding those who don't know that let them not say that those of us who are sure we can't see the sky. And that is the most important thing to look at in a day.
All right.
A brilliant day.
It was, and that's on a very light note to begin the conversation. But the conversation tonight is not a very funny one, considering that it has really divided Nigerians. And one of those situations where you find Nigerians largely divided along ethnic and religious lines. In fact, in the Senate, you saw what it cost between some of your colleagues. But let me get your view. Now, you're wearing three hats, and I'm hoping that we might be able to glean from your knowledge and perspective that you have as a former governor, two-term, a former Labour leader, and a sitting senator. So you must have perspective onto how government can tax and the tax system in Nigeria and some of those things that have been captured in that tax. Well, how do you summarize your view about the tax reform bills?
Well, thank you very much. I think for me, it is unfortunate, like you said, that any proposal, any matter that comes before the National Assembly can possibly be seen as one that is divisive, where depending on where your accident of birthplace is, you are either for or against. I think the real beauty of democracy, and the only way I can justify my coming to the Senate, is that I have lived through an era in which a man, in the name of federal government, will write something like, the federal military government hereby decree as follows, and it's signed. And that's the law. You can't question, you can't add, you can't surprise. And I think for those who were involved, including my humble self, in fighting against military dictatorship, it was precisely because it's a government of execution. You don't have opportunity to influence lawmaking. You can wake up in the morning and find out what was lawful last night is no longer lawful. And if it suits them, they can even backdate the law to criminalize what was lawful yesterday, to criminalize it by tomorrow. So, I mean, at the heart of democracy for me is that the constitution that vests so much powers in the president deny him one power, the power to make laws. But like any Nigerian, he has the right to initiate a bill, and subject to the National Assembly to look at it, make amend, and do with it whatever it wants. And I thought we have opportunity for the first time, really, if you ask me, because the only thing that is constant in modern society is change. And how do you change society? You change either by revolution or by reform. What distinguishes the beauty about reform is that it benefits from debates, from consensus building, from negotiations. I'm not a stammerer, and debate is for those who can argue. And that's what the parliament is about. The good thing is that the president has not sent to us a law. What he has said to us is a set of proposals, order a bill, for us to look at, discuss, debate, even as we negotiate, and alter it as we want, and pass to him a piece of legislation or bill that attract majority of the two chambers of the National Assembly. I will be surprised if the president thinks that whatever he forwarded to the Assembly, to the National Assembly, will return back to it the way he proposed it. Even the Appropriation Act, it never goes back the way he came in. I do not know of any bill that has come to us, maybe one or two exceptions. And even in such cases, sometimes we have had to subsequently amend it. So for me, if you ask me, what do I think? It's not as if I had the benefit of a personal conversation with anyone, but flipping through the bill, I believe it is the kind of thing the business people want. For example, it seeks to reduce corporate tax. I would personally want to increase corporate tax, because the way we now I'm talking as a labor man.
Yeah.
As a labor man, I think that companies' profit is excess of those, after you have paid wages, bonuses, etc., to management. Then the few shareholder, which may be one or two or few numbers, pocket the surplus generated by workforce, and they call it profit. And then they go to a boardroom and divide it. So the tax they pay on it, for me, should be higher. But the president wants to attract more businesses, because he understands that private businesses are driven by such incentive. And one of the things they consider in industrial location in terms of foreign investment is, what is the tax regime in that country? The second, now still talking as a worker, the president has, in my view, rightly, or the bill rightly, seeks to exempt people who are earning around minimum wage. I would like to see that allowance even higher. You know, instead of 70,000 or 80,000, I would like to see a situation in which anybody earning less than, depending on the exchange rate, less than $60 a month times whatever is the exchange rate, be exempt from tax, because $2, the world agreed, is a poverty wage. So, but these are the reasons we have parliament, to discuss these and other things. And you have, I also see in the bill, the one that most people have argued about, value-added tax. Value-added tax has its beauty, in principle, for me. If I earn 100,000 or 200,000 or 300,000, I cannot consume more than 300,000, and therefore my taxes will be limited to a percentage of the 300,000 a month that I'm going to spend. If you choose to go and buy a SUV car, you pay a VAT on it. If I buy a bicycle, which just few hundreds or few thousands, I pay a VAT on it. So VAT for me is very, very equitable, to the extent that The more you consume, conspicuous consumption in particular, even if you escape paying taxes by hiding the number or using tax doctors in case of corporations, when those who get the dividend begin to spend on consumption other than food, they pay tax on it. So for me, those are beautiful things that we ought to encourage, particularly as we recognize that it is better to have appropriate tax than to keep borrowing. And lastly, center to most electioneering issue in mature democracies is tax policy. Whether you want to tax the rich more or you want to reduce the tax burden or tax break to the poor, and where you draw the line, that defines the character of a government, whether it's a progressive taxation policy or it's negative or it's static. All of this can benefit from robust debate, and I was looking forward to such debate. I'm never afraid to have a debate, because that is the reason we came to the Senate.
Before we get into other issues, which goes into the bottom line of what the average person gets home, because as an individual first, before you now start thinking about which organization or corporate entity you belong to, you all first and foremost think about how much you earn in its entirety and how much you have to give out to the government's tax, and what these bills mean. But I'm curious, though, before I get into the details of all of that technical details of the bill, I'm curious, though, as a politician, you must be wondering that when you send bill to the State Assembly when you were governor, that sometimes you have to call the lawmakers to familiarize themselves or to let them know your intention, because any executive bill is a policy direction of the executive arm of government. And I'm wondering, what do you think triggered your colleagues from the northern region of the country?
I do not think it would be fair to talk in regional terms. And I'm afraid, Shehu, I am not able to pursue a conversation along regional lines, because I am on unrepentant Nigeria, and I do not want to look at things from regional point of view. I have often asked, there is nothing that is good for one part that is bad for the other. And there is nothing that is bad for one part that is good for the other. As president of Nigeria Labour Congress, I represented all the working people across north, south, east, west, and regardless of their faith. So I am not a believer in this closing debate by reference to ethnic divide. I don't think this is an ethnic issue.
Interesting.
For example, I believe that whereas prosperity, dividends, unites those who live on both wages, big bonuses or fat bonuses, and they share profits in banks, in manufacturing, in those sectors that are still profitable, they have one interest. Those who are at the receiving end, employees, working families, who seeks to simply meet their basic needs. You have them in the north, as you have them in the south. You have them in the east, as you have them in the west. Now, this being the fact, there is federal character in hunger, there is federal character in prosperity. If you're looking at the prosperous Nigeria, you will find them across the 6 geopolitical zones. So I would rather deal with issues on those bases.
But I'm curious, that's why I say it's a matter of politics now, because...
But I'm not aware that this whole issue is about the fact that some persons from some parts have raised objection.
You didn't see that, you didn't see that on the floor?
Should not mean that... no, I will never see things like that.
Or you refuse to see it?
No. There could be... Because you see, as a senator, I refer to my colleagues, and they also refer to me as colleagues. I have never been introduced, maybe for the purpose of reminding my colleagues and sometimes the public, I will say, representing the people of Edo North in Edo State, not representing Southern Nigeria or Eastern Nigeria or Western Nigeria or Northern Nigeria. No, that is not the basis.
So you did not align with
I don't find anything wrong
with the Southern Caucus that came out with a statement. The Southern Caucus, led by Senator Seriake Dixon, who came out to say they're endorsing the tax reform bills. Do you align with that caucus?
Excuse me. You want to push me to the point I'm making? Cedric Dixon made his point eloquently clear, and I called him after that debate. I mean, I think he also had a conversation with you here. Yeah, I don't think the essence of his position is informed by the fact of being from the South. No, I think it goes beyond that. I saw him attempting to explain his own frustration about why people should use a chopper to fly to a location, right? They carry out some economic activities and then fly back to where he resides outside the state. And he thinks that his taxes, his pay as you earn, should accrue to where his economic activity resides. Now, this is a viable issue for debate. Ironically, for Dixon, people in Lagos State will say, and it is a fact, that there are people who live in Ogun State and they work in Lagos State. But I think the tax regime as is, if I'm not mistaken, you pay tax based on your place of residence.
Yeah.
Not where you work.
And
I think, I'm not sure this tax reform addressed that. And so Dixon may have made that assumption without necessarily speaking to that particular bill. And maybe he would like to have an amendment that reflects that. And if he seeks to do an amendment that reflects that, he will find support in our colleagues from Lagos State who will say, well, are people working in Lagos and they reside in Ogun State and they pay their taxes to Ogun State government? Again, for me, this is the beauty of democracy. When we have conversation, we engage. We will find common ground.
Yeah.
The bottom line is to recognize that no one can impose his might on the other.
Senator,
that is at the heart of democracy.
Constitutionally speaking, we operate, and we also always mouth of operating a federal system of government, a presidential focused federal state, which empowers or sees the the state, the federating unit, as in a lot of sense, as far as its residual power in the Constitution is concerned, and the exclusive powers to the federal government is concerned, makes the center powerful. But there are a lot of people who have said, let's whittle down the power of the federal, of the national, so that we can make the federating unit more powerful. If you look at what is being proposed in this bill, and their arguments, and some of the state governors have argued that the collection power for VAT, for example, should reside, or the state should be empowered. There are those who argue that some of the states don't have what it takes to be able to collect. Let the collection be in one place and let it be distributed. So the issue of derivation and distribution has caused a lot of uproar. Give us a sense of your understanding as a former governor and a sitting senator in terms of the structure of collection and in terms of the structure or proposition of derivation. What do you think will perfectly work for our federal state?
Let me start with the last question. Perfectly. There is nothing that is perfect. What we can achieve as human in a democracy is that we can do better in every aspect of life. The fact that we are doing well, I would say, well done, doesn't mean that by tomorrow we can't do it even better than today. I mean, I like this thing about, and the best example I will give you when you talk about federation. We often talk about America as give example of America as if it is a perfect federal system. But remember that one of the legacies of Barack Obama as president of the U.S. was that he was able to put in place what they call the Affordable Health Care Act, which several democratic governments were not able to do. And that is a federal government, a federal system that Nigeria likes to copy. And yet, a federal government put in place a tax that obliged every American to benefit from affordable health care. We did, some people call it Obamacare, but I think in that manner they actually helped to immortalize his name. Now, that you are in a federal system doesn't mean you are in 26 autonomous states. It doesn't exactly like that. Number two, you will find that even the recent debate in America, at the heart of that debate, some will say, was the issue of the Democrats were accusing the Republican candidate of wanting to grant more tax relief to the wealthy and transferring more tax burden to the working class. And the democracies, if we are elected, we will reduce the tax burden of working families and put more tax burden on the rich. And this is perfectly legitimate. It's a federal system. However, I have stayed in an hotel in the US, not once, not twice, several times. And I found upon checking out in my bill, you have federal tax, you have state tax, you even have community tax, county tax. That's 3. Just because I slept in a room. And each authority collects its own taxes. Now, when you say who should collect, should that really be an issue? That should be a matter of who can do it more efficiently. There are benefits of economies of scale. There are also diseconomies of scale. Small can be beautiful, or small can also carry excessive overhead. And the issue of transparency will set in. For me, understand where I'm coming from. As I am here, I have not reached a decision that this must be there, because I recognize that I am not in a position to make a decision. I can only contribute to the process of decision making by engaging my colleagues on these issues. For example, when the matter come before public hearing, one of the things I would like to suggest is that, look, can we not jack up the base from 70,000 a month to 100,000 or even to 200,000? This is a legitimate thing for me to do. But whether I get the buy-in of my colleague will require that I negotiate, I persuade, and I explain, and they are convinced. If they are not, the figure will remain what it is, or they might jack it up a little bit, but not up to the rate that I want. I do not know of any parliament, and I think Dixon makes this point. It's at the heart of why we are in the National Assembly. The day it will be a side for democracy if we get to a point in which whatever bill, draft bill, the executive brings to the National Assembly, it is the National Assembly stamp it and return it to the executive exactly the way he brought it. Even running, you asked me as my experience as a governor. As governor of Edo State, I don't remember any legislation, particularly appropriation bill, that I sent to the House of Assembly that they returned to me exactly the way I sent it. They will have found reason to add something, or to delete something, or to modify something. And I have to ask myself, if I refuse to sign in into law, and they are determined, they have to 2/3 majority to veto what I'm proposing. But what I found in the real world is that when debate assumes ethnic and religious line, the first casualty is truth and reason. You are going to find so many people who on a good day are perfect gentlemen, generating so much heat, and in the process giving us very little light. I like to say to everyone that the rich beauty of democracy is that there is no living Nigerian now who can say, I hereby decree as follows. But the president has a duty to initiate a bill, and he made a point that Nigeria needs to go through reform. I think no Nigeria will say that we can't benefit from reform, including the tax system. There are a lot of things that goes on when you travel. You know, from here I should go from here to my state. We only pass through Kogi State. You will find 2-3 checkpoints of people collecting some taxes, whether it's for produce, whatever it is. And then by the time you cross to Edo State, you see some other boys who say they are also collecting taxes. They wear uniform. You are not so sure who is genuine, who is not genuine. Nobody can argue that we shouldn't reform several aspects of our life. In fact, many will say, in the heart of many is revolution. But on our lips is reform. That's what an American told me once. The first time I visited New York. And I saw a lot of people, and by the time I read the literature, as of that time, maybe about 25 years ago, and about 50,000 Americans were sleeping in front of public buildings at night. I actually saw some eating from dustbin. And he said, for this kind of people, their material condition require more than token reforms. So I think society is not stagnant, and we live in a world that is not just changing, the speed of change is so fast that only those who are capable of reforming and not deforming anyway, reforming will survive.
Because
my point is this. Let's keep the debate going. When we are not clear, let's invite those who think they have greater insight to speak to us on those aspects that we are not clear.
So you support the fact that the bill should never be returned. It should be worked upon.
We are governed by the Constitution. There is nothing in the Nigerian Constitution and in the rules of the Senate, for example, that says throw away any bill that you don't like. In fact, what the law says, if you throw away a bill and it doesn't go through second reading, you can't revisit it for 1 year or for the life of this Senate. So what I found since I came in, and I understand that is a tradition, is that depending on the nature of the issues, you do a first reading without much ado. By the second reading, the senators will debate it from different angles.
On the open floor, at the plenary.
Including bills proposed by colleagues. I have spoken against quite a number. So much that somebody thought I am always against certain bill that carries certain tendencies, particularly if you are trying to establish a new institution that, in my view, simply add to our recorded expenditure. I've had to persuade people that no, we shouldn't be creating more institutions. When the Roshaye report says Nigeria,
we have too much.
Yeah, we already have too many things, and even this president has committed himself to reviewing and revisiting this institution with a view to, trimming them and making them more efficient. So, given our level of expenditure on recurrent issues, we need to be more careful in, creating more institutions. They know I hold that view, and very strongly too. And each time I see something like that, I recognize that to succeed, I need to talk to a few other senators. I say, look at this bill. Is he really bringing anything new on board, or just to create another subhead for members of the political class to become board chairman, GMD or MD or whatever, and then executive directors, and each zone has a position to bring, and then we keep buying vehicles and so on, acquire buildings, stationaries. What value? If none, how are we doing it? Even last week, I argued against the idea of establishing a Coastal Guard. I said we rather equip and re-equip our Navy, make them more smarter, more better equipment, more better trained, than creating another marine police institution. So the point for me is there is nothing wrong about anyone, in particular the president, seeking to reform the country and seeking to reform the tax system.
Right.
And as a governor, there are too many subheads, I know that we do well to realign some of this to make the process more efficient. As a city governor of Edo State, I enacted what we call Edo State Board of Inland Revenue Service. And we changed the entire tax system that I met. I think the immediate past governor, Obaseki, he followed through that law, and the current governor is working on it. I reformed the tax system in Edo, and as a consequence, when I came in, we were earning about 280 million a month. By the time I left, we have achieved a modest rate of about 2.2 billion a month. It's about about 26 to 30 billion a year. That for me was huge to enable us to do some of the public works. And typically I will put a signboard, taxpayers at work. Taxpayers' money at work. So for me, at the heart of governance, let's forget that, if we were not so fortunate that God put so much liquid gold on this soil, which we call crude oil, and the gas, etc., that we argue over how to share it. Government as an institution does not create wealth. All that government does in the final analysis is to create an enabling environment for citizens to prosper. And as the citizens become prosperous, government uses the power of the state to tax. And it is these taxes the government collect that is used to address public infrastructure. Right. That is why in Europe, it's only in Nigeria that I will not talk that way. And I hope that one day we'll get there. In Europe, nobody talks about government money because government does not make money. It is taxpayers' money that government collect. That's why when you abuse public trust, leading to misappropriation of taxpayers' money, it is often described as taxpayers' money. In Nigeria, we don't talk of taxpayers' money. We say it's still government money. Government doesn't have money. Government only collects taxes. Yeah, on national cake. Because we get much of the money from liquid gold and some small percentage maybe from solid minerals.
We're due for a break. Our own looking good. We're taking a commercial break, everyone. But when we come back, more conversation about the Tinubu regime and some of the policies. There are those who believe that things are hard for the nation, for the Nigerian people. But what exactly is the way forward? He says he wants to make reforms, but are these the right steps in the direction the nation needs to go? We'll be talking more when we return with Senator Oshiomhole. We'll be right back, everyone. The National Assembly has been speaking with us on the program. Thank you so much indeed. I mean, that's why I was worried where some governors are saying withdraw the bill. If that was in fact the position of NEC when they first sat on the bill, and they said asking that the federal government or the federal government that is, because they were the one who presented the bill, to withdraw the bill. But your position is that it should stay, isn't it?
Yeah, I think our procedure, I think I've explained it on reflection. I did not much debate. Secondly, you debate, and depending on the nature of the issue, a committee is asked to organize a public hearing to let the members of the public, raise any concern, add, subtract, or even demand that the law is unnecessary. That is the way it works. Sometimes you are given 4 weeks within which to get that done. But in the case of this reform, I think the Senate leadership and the entire Senate, realizing the important issues raised in the reform bill, asked for, directed the relevant committees, up to 2-3 of them, to organize public debate. Yes, public hearing, and they could choose and they have all the time in the world to do just that. But I think anyone will do, because there is no senator who doesn't come from a state. But don't forget that the Senate processes are guided by its own rules. So that is the procedure. And you do not need to withdraw. If you withdraw it, you have closed the debate. Mm-hmm. You have closed the debate by withdrawing it. It's better debated at public hearing. Mm-hmm. And you can extend your public hearing as much as you think the public needs to have their input. We are making these laws for the Nigerian people. You are just asking me now about when I was governor. And that will be the case of everyone. Sooner than later, everybody will become former. What will be constant is the Nigerian people. And therefore, the Nigerian people who should look at this thing, constructively and say, is it in our interest? But in the real world, you get not what you want. Nobody gets what you want. You get what you are able to negotiate. And it is more so in a democracy. So I think that some discussions are going on, and I will expect more of those discussions to go on. And in the end, we will find, because remember, I said something at the beginning, nobody can say, I hereby decree as follows. And so I think at the end of the day, it is to the extent, it's those issues around which we are able to build consensus that will forward to the president. And if the president is not satisfied, under the rules, under the constitution, he has a right to veto it and ask us to look at this area again. Along the line, we'll find consensus. I've heard some people say, oh, it's too early in the day. Let me tell you my own example. I give my example. When I was governor of Edo State, I introduced these tax reforms. And some people say, oh, Adam, you are going to burn your goodwill. And I said, the goodwill I enjoy now is based on the expectation that I will do better. Given my reputation as a Labour president, they expect that I will bring that same no-nonsense approach to governance. But if I do not raise taxes, if all I'm able to do is to say I pay salary as I went due, even that could come under threat. Then those who are clapping for me in the evening will boo me out at the end of my tenure. I would prefer I lose a couple of friends at the beginning, because nobody really wants to pay tax everywhere. That's why tax is at the heart of debate in mature democracies. But even if I lose some of those friends for asking them to pay taxes in the morning, towards the end of my tenure, they will have seen the full benefit of the taxes they collect.
And you think that your party is losing the...
There is no point, because, you see, as they say, a statesman look at the next generation, a petty-minded politician look at the next election. People will say, why do you see wait? It's going to create too many enemies. Only time will tell. I believe that you make reform in a manner that the benefit of those reforms, you should begin to see them before the end of your tenure. It borders on opportunity, in my opinion, to wait when you are about leaving, then you try to introduce some measures because you are able to be around. I think it's this tax reform, in my view, represent a bold attempt by the president to say we can't continue with business as usual. So let's look at these taxes again. Because ideally, we ought to be living and run government on the basis of taxes, not cheap money from oil, which one day we dry off anyway.
Yeah, let me quickly...
And when I was growing up, for example, you don't talk in the village square when elders are holding meeting if you have not paid your taxes. Whether the military came one day and said they abolished those kind of taxations, etc., etc. And so today, those who have paid taxes are very few. Number two, by the way, what also people didn't take note of is that this tax bill seeks to reduce the tax burden on those who are earning up to 50 million a year or a month. It peg it at about 25%.
Businesses, yeah.
If not just businesses, individuals. And their businesses too. It seeks to remove some barriers, some tax burden on small-scale businesses.
Zero
so
tax,
that the environment can be more business-friendly. Having recognized that a lot of people in the informal sector, the economy is driven increasingly largely by small businesses. So you do well to remove their tax burden, which I believe this tax bill as is proposed. I think those people will be quite happy. But you know, when you reduce this to they and us, these fine details are lost. I think we should, in the course of conversation and public hearing and public debate, identify those non-controversial issues and mark them agreed. The controversial one, let's face them. Why this and not this? For me, this is the way it should go.
Senator, quickly, because our time is fast spent, and I'm worried about the issue of whether or not the president is losing friends. There are some policies that this government, they say they are tough decisions and policies that this government has made, including levies and taxes or policy decisions on issues like electricity, removal of subsidy, things that directly impact on the living wage or the living condition of the average person. And the fear is that your party is probably losing popularity, and some friends have been lost in terms of those who voted for your party. Are you worried as a leader of the party in that line that some of your decisions may be looking like anti-people's decisions?
You know, Shehu, you always want to talk about if one is worried. I would rather talk about my hopes, not my worries. My hope is that the president's honest intention to change a couple of things in some fundamental ways that in the end they pay off and people begin to reap those benefits. So that those who cry in the morning will begin to find themselves smiling in the evening. I do not think that any leader comes out to punish. But if it is about popularity, I think it was the late Minister of Transport who told George Bush, you are very popular in Nigeria. I think he was trying to flatter George Bush. And Bush said, well, I didn't know that leadership is about popularity contest. He just tried to do what he thinks is good for America. That's it. And say, you watch the news. I don't watch the news because I make the news. So, I mean, talking of popularity, what would be popular? Maybe you should be selling ice cream, as the vice president once said. I think leadership of a country or that faces serious socio-economic challenges will require that to have a leader with a level of courage to take what seems to be difficult decisions, but inevitable.
But even like the fact that a lot of people are feeling the pinch.
Wait. Tell me who has had to enjoy omelette without having someone's egg broken.
For how long?
For as long as it takes.
The people who are
I don't think, when you talk about the people, you know I represent the people more than you should. The point is this. I am consigned and I never hid this fight. I don't hide this fight. I mean, that I think there are a couple of even more things this president should do.
You think it's not done yet?
Yeah. If we are going to create jobs, we are going to create more jobs, and we have to create those jobs in the manufacturing sector, not just services, manufacturing sector. It will require even more fundamental decisions to be taken. For example, I want to see prohibition of things that we don't need. I want to see prohibition of some vehicles, certain categories of vehicles at this hour of this is so that we put less pressure on our exchange rate and do any of those things that we can do that people can see the burden being evenly distributed. But I know one thing, Nigeria can't continue the way it has been. For example, I have my issues about exchange rate. But on the other hand, I celebrate the fact that nobody now can become a billionaire just because you are a friend of the CBN governor. He allocates $10 million US to you in the morning at 300 naira a dollar, and then by tomorrow you go and sell it at 550, and you make about $7 million just without any effort. And every cycle you repeat that, and before the end of the year you become a dollar billionaire. I think that kind of thing is bad. On the other hand, we see some challenges. He tried to ensure that the gap between official and non-official is eliminated. So what does it tell me? There are no easy answers. There are no easy answers, but we must keep trying to do something to get the country going.
Thank you so much. I see that you are grooming your son, Dr. Cyril Oshiomhole.
He's not working under me.
But he's now working for the government of Edo State.
Oh, is that?
Oh, you're not aware?
He didn't work under me. You say I'm grooming. Maybe Governor Monday is grooming him.
Oh, really? Not your influence?
When I was in Edo, I stopped him when he wanted to go for House of Rep. I said no. I supported another guy. The second time he wanted to try again, I said no. This time, the governor decided to pick him. So he's qualified.
Is it without your permission?
Don't talk about permissions. My son is not under 30. He didn't need my permission, but I did express my concerns when I heard, and I called him and I expressed to him my concerns. I expressed those concerns to the governor, but people might say this, people might say that, and those were the reasons why I stopped him from contesting election when I was in office. But then I have to accept that, in the world that we live in, you can only do so much to control your son, not when he's already of adult age. But the point must be made. I invested in my children's education. I didn't want them to go through what I went through, right? So Dr. Cyril is not only a medical doctor from EBU. He went to do postgraduate in 2 universities in the US, including Harvard, and another university in Louisiana. And he had done something about public health. And so he's not having it because he's Oshiomhole. I would say he's having it in spite of being Oshiomhole.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. At least you can see the sky today.
Grateful people, welcome back. You guys have heard, you have watched what in Channels TV, what Segun and Oshiomhole said, and everything concerning the tax reform. So let me come now to my own opinion. You see, the Senate, Tinubu, for me, I feel that what Tinubu did is the right thing, but I don't know why the Senate don't want to, don't want to do it, or don't want to implement, or don't want to sign the way Bola Tinubu made it to be, So this is for me. Since Bola Tinubu entered into government, this is what he has been able to do that really caught my attention. But I don't know why Senate are kicking against it. The northern part of Nigeria are kicking against it because you can only eat the way you sow. That is what I believe in this thing. You reap the way you sow. So all these things that they say they will give allocation or give tax or tax refund should be the way the scale mark or the way the state is big or all these things. Although I'm not particular on this interview, but I just brought this interview for me to speak. This tax refund of a thing, this tax, all this thing has been going on, even up to some people coming out to protest that they should remove it, that is not, they will not implement it, all those things. I have never talked about this tax refund of a thing, but today I just use the opportunity to play this video so that I would say my mind, because for me, you cannot reap what you did not sow. You cannot expect people that have those minerals, people that have been working, they will pay a lot of taxes, and when they are giving out allocation, they will give it, they will now start, they will say, oh, this state is very big, we have to give according to the landmark of that state. Me, I don't, that one, I'm against it. So the Senate should do the right thing, not sitting like the way Oshiomhole is saying, they should not remove it, but they should amend it. As how? As what? How is it going to be amended? How is it so? All these people, me, I don't really understand anyway. I don't understand what is happening in Nigeria. You see, Nigeria is one country that I don't know if corruption would ever end in Nigeria. Yes. Okay, after all the discussion that Oshiomhole has said, you guys have heard everything. Then this Segun asked him, your son now is he has a position in a government, I think commissioner or something. Then it was said, he said he don't know about it too, that is that man. Before Monday, before Oshiomhole put Monday there, he has been, that was one of the negotiation, one of the promises that Oshiomhole or what has said, this is what you will do if I put you there. So don't Oshiomhole should not come here and start deceiving us like we are not Nigeria, or we don't know the way they are corrupt in that in politics. So Oshiomhole should not come here and be pretending. Anyway, let's just even talk about the German, president that came to Nigeria. I pray if all these things that they have been doing, bringing foreign people to come and partner with Nigeria, if it is will work. The problem is not bringing foreigners to, or foreign people to come and partner with Nigeria. The problem is that when they come to Nigeria and partner, what will be the outcome? Because, for example, Nigeria is not secure. The judicial system in Nigeria is so corrupt. Those are the first thing, the first things that investor would want to look into. Where I'm going to invest, is it safe? Where I'm going to partner, the country I'm going to partner, is it safe for me? Is it safe for our business? That is number one thing the investor will want to sit down and think as a businessman. So not last time I brought Indian president, I will bring this president, is German this thing president. Anyway, it's a good thing. Not that I'm against it. It's a very, very good thing. But my question is that how long will it take? Because one thing is that Nigeria is too corrupt. It's just too corrupt. It's a corrupt country. And they don't want to work on it. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to work. But they are always dragging. When somebody come out to speak how it is, they will start dragging that person. They will start insulting that and talk about Nigeria, that Nigeria is Davido came out to talk about Nigeria, People started dragging Davido. Hey, why must he say that? Why must he not say? But the guy just speak the truth. All of us know that the guy speak the truth. Anyway, my people, this video has been taking too long. So, if you have watched to this time, you have heard of, please drop your own opinion in the comment section. Subscribe to this channel, like and share. Yes, like and share, and drop your own opinion in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye for now.